Hello there, I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to Nick Month 2. This time it's personal, and it's also once again from the vault. Getting down to the nitty gritty. We're taking a break from Victorious. I have one more to talk about, but we are talking about Drake and Josh. Josh is done from season 4. This is one I wanted to talk about for a little while. And it hit me when I was watching through the episodes to do the Scotty TV episode on it. I really wanted to talk about this because I remember when this episode first aired and how it hit me. It might even be when it first aired, but when I first saw it, I guess I should say, how it hit me. It just, because this is so different from any other episode. I think the only other one you can kind of compare it to is Foam Finger, because it's an argument. Something happens that makes them at odds with one another. But it's more so in that one. It's Drake is mad at Josh. They're both mad at each other, but Drake is the one that goes out of his way to kind of try to get away from Josh. Here, it's Josh, and I'm not going to mince any words when I say that this is probably the best acted episode of Drake and Josh, like, ever. Just the performances, especially towards the end, one of the last scenes there in the classroom, just fantastic. But, yeah, the plot of this episode is that Drake makes Josh late for school because the teacher's a dick. We'll get to it. He's not able to take his test, and Josh gets all pissed at Drake. He's not mad. He's just done. And, so then it's, seeing what it's like now that Josh is done with, from both sides. What's going to happen with Drake? How's he dealing with this? How's Josh dealing with this? It has a conclusion. The conclusion to me has never been satisfying enough, but it's clear they ran out of time. Is what it is, because there's like 90 seconds left in the episode when it comes to conclude. That's with credits, so yeah, I don't know, but so we start with the cold open, and they're talking about what is it? Josh talking about he's responsible, he's studying, and Drake is not studying. He likes to play ping pong. And he keeps on calling Josh and won't take no for an answer on playing ping pong. I have a friend, my friend Eric, he was like that. Not so much anymore, but he used to call me and wouldn't give up till I said yes. So I know what that's like, but yeah. He eventually agrees and we go into the opening. Josh comes in after taking a shower. He's drying his hair. He has a textbook in the other hand. He's drying his hair with one hand, textbook in the other. And Drake's, okay, come on, let's play ping pong. And throws the paddle and hits him in Les Bordes. And I love Josh's line here. With what hand was I supposed to catch that? Yeah, they're a little bit full. But he must have played ping pong. And this is a random ping pong table in their room, which you never see again. And if you're wondering how they got it, well, there is a lead scene. It's in the credits. Drake found it in the garbage, essentially. But yeah. And picked it up from there. I'd wash that off first. Hopefully they washed it off. But Josh finally agrees to play the ping pong with him. And accidentally they're mimicking English dub of Japanese films. You are not strong. Your pong is not meant for my ping. Oh, call master my cuckoo. That kind of, you are strong, but I am stronger than you. That kind of dialogue, the dubbing, Japanese films in English, that sort of thing. And Josh accidentally launches his ping pong paddle out the window. That window has seen some things. Been through some things, I guess I'd say. And so Drake says, oh, there's one downstairs, I'll go and get it. He's like, well, I really need to study. He's like, don't worry. You can study while I'm going down to get the paddle. They just have the paddle laying on the coffee table. When the phone rings, Megan is researching whales for her trip she's going on. And Drake gets a call from someone named Kat, who we've never seen before and never see again. She wants to make up before school, so he just takes off. Because this is the episode where Drake magically has a car. And Josh doesn't. Apparently they share a car. I guess. Now, we never see the parents in this episode. So I have an issue. Josh comes down, wondering what happened to Drake. Megan says he took off. So he's like, he did not leave. He goes to look. He left. And he's like, well, I'm going to need a... When's your carpool coming? I need a ride. She's like, oh, I'm not going to school. I'm going on a trip. Yeah, but you go to school first. Then you get on the bus to go to the trip. That's how school trips work. You go to school, and you get into like the gymnasium, whatever, you get all together. You go on a bus, and then you go on the trip. So she would still be going to school. But for the purpose of this episode, she can't be. Yeah. He then says, well, then he'll just take his bike, but he can't because Drake ran it over last night, so he's going to have to run. And again, I got to point out, the parents, they're not seen or they're mentioned, but not seen. The dad's a weatherman, but the mom has a car, and she, as far as I know, has no job. Because we never see what she does. She's a stay-at-home mom, supposedly. I never see her job. So, we never see her job. So, her car should still be there. But no, for the purposes of this episode, he's got to run to school. And then we cut to the school. And, Drake is just making out with Kat in the middle of class. The teacher, who is once again the dad from Even Stevens. And I was thinking this could be the same character, but it's not because it's Mr. Ferguson in Victorious. And here he's Mr. Rowland. And the reason I say it could be the same character is that Drake and Josh and Victorious take place within the same universe, in the same continuity. They're in the same world. And how I know that? Well, because they're both connected to iCarly. Yes. iCarly episode, I start a fan war. In that episode, Craig, Eric, and Gavin are all seen in there. At the convention center. So is Stacey Dilson from Zoe 101. That's also in the same universe. And in the episode of Sam and Cat, hashtag Super Psycho, when they go to visit Neville in a parody of the Silence of the Lambs, Crazy Steve, wearing a mask, is in there using audio from Billy Big Shrimp. Cock-a-doo-doo-doo, the cow says moo. He's in the nut house. So it's connected. So, and if Victoria is connected to iCarly, that means that they're connected to Drake and Josh, too. So, all that stuff, the rest is connected. It's 6 degrees of Drake and Josh. So, yeah, but it's just the same actor. It's not the same character because they have different last names. Unless he changed his name to Ferguson. Or maybe in continuity-wise, just takes place after that. He realized his daughter was a bitch and got divorced, changed his name, and moved to San Diego. I mean, because it's still California. I don't know. But this is the worst teacher I've ever seen. This teacher should be fired. He should be fired. Because Josh comes up just a little bit late, and he has already locked the door to the classroom and tells them that he's not going to let him into the classroom. He lets him in, but he's not going to let him stay in the classroom. He's not going to let him take the test. He's going to have to make it up on a Saturday, and he'll be marked down a letter grade no matter what he gets. That can't be legal. He also, because you think, well, once he explains, he also won't let him explain a goddamn thing. He tries to explain, he keeps getting pushed out of the classroom. He will not let him explain anything, which is bullshit. Teachers cannot do that. What Josh should have done was go to the fucking principal and say, hey, Mr. Rowland kicked me out of class. He won't let me explain why I was late. Can you talk to him? The principal will come in and talk to him. But no, for the purposes of this episode, this has to happen. So this is the inciting incident of why Josh is just done with Drake. He's had enough. Okay? He wants nothing to do with him, and he says, he's like, well, we'll be roommates for as long as, and until I go to college, but that's just it. We're just roommates. We're not friends, we're not brothers, we're just roommates. And I want to point out that in Foam Finger, Drake was only mad at Josh and didn't want to share the room with him. Yet Josh is done with Drake, and he's still okay with sharing a room with him. I also want to point out, because I'm not going to talk about the episode yet, but I want to point out that episode, he's going around to try to find places to sleep, right? In the living room or the kitchen, whatever, dining room, living room, whatever. It's a living room because he's like, there's a living room, and yeah, living, but yeah, and the bathroom, but they have a guest room. He could just sleep in the guest room. There was no guests there. They have a guest room. But even when they have a guest, they don't have her sleep in the guest room. Really big shrimp. There's really no reason for Megan to stay in their room. Who's sleeping in the guest room? No one. Why? Why does she have to stay in their room? It makes no sense to me. I would talk about that, but it just made no sense to me. It doesn't. They just wanted to have an inconvenience, and you didn't really need it. Anyway, so he's done with them. And he was like, I'll give him a few days, he'll be fine. But no, he wants nothing to do with Drake. He brings in the sit and bounce, which Megan points out, doesn't that kid next door, Robbie, who was in the episode before this treehouse, where they burnt down his treehouse. That's number 10 on my top 10 list, but it has a non-ending. But apparently they got out of the treehouse then. But then Robbie comes in. I knew it. I knew you took my sit and bounce. Yeah. So. But then things start to change. So Josh is at the premiere. I guess they're eating dinner because Craig has a hot dog at first. But then Crazy Steve comes up and said, hey, Helen needs me to do something. Can you help me? Well, it's my day off, so can you ask someone else? He's like, fine. And he knocks Eric over in his chair and then throws Craig's hot dog. We get the line, he chucked my wiener. I do like the lady that walks by. I was just walking out of the theater and it landed in my cup. Or landed in my hand or whatever she said. But, yeah. Rick comes up and apparently every Tuesday, Bad Movie Tuesday, he goes to see the worst movie they could think of at the theater. Which, I don't think that would work because if you're looking stuff on like Rotten Tomatoes or some shit, and you go for one of the bad rated movies, Rotten Tomatoes don't know shit. They go by, because half the time their movies, critics rate it bad, but audiences will have middle to good on stuff. But, like, there are some movies that Rotten Tomatoes has bad, like, Good Burger has a bad score. No. Bad critic score, I should say. And some other ones that I really like have better. I think Bill and Ted has a... But just that either. They're going to go see a magic show or some shit. I don't remember. Some kind of show. And sitting with them there is Craig, Eric, and Leah, who is the new employee for this season only. She's not even introduced. She's just there. They're going to go see a magic show or some shit. And he just can't believe, you know, that he's done with him. Right? Then things start to change. Josh no longer has his rash. And this is where I got to call out Aggressively Average again. Because he's like, because Craig comes, he's like, oh, hey, Josh, your rash cream, you left it in my glove compartment. He goes, keep it. It's gone. He goes, we've had that rash cream for 3 years. And Aggressively Average pointed out, he said, well, then the rash cream wasn't working. And I'm like, well, no, that's not how the body works. That's how rashes work. The rash can go away and come back. That's how rashes work. I've had that before. Sometimes it's stress related and whatever. But it, you know, they don't always just go away for good. They keep coming back. That's why he needs to use it. Especially if it's stress related. And here it's implied that it's Drake's fault. You know. Drake is also having bad luck. His guitar string broke. He later gets a pimple, but he shows up He's like, "Oh, Josh needs me more than I need him." She's wrong about. He even tries to play ping pong with Megan, and I like Megan's response, which is, "You don't want to put a pad on my hand." True that. True that. But yeah, Drake shows up and is like, "Hey, cause like, so he says he had to walk all the way to the theater because Josh didn't put any gas in the car. And Josh says, I put just enough gas to get me where I'm going. Just enough gas for him." So how did he get to work? Did Craig and Eric drop him off? I'm guessing because he said he left the rash cream, but he wouldn't have it with him if he doesn't need it now. So how did he get to work? Right? Couldn't have drove there. Also, Drake says he had to walk the rest of the way to the theater. So he left his car in the middle of the road. He says, I don't need a free ticket from you because Mom paid me $10 to get out of the house. And like, tickets are $11, and popcorn and soda are going to cost you another $6 or $7. So he just freaks out and runs into the theater. They start talking about sandwiches, hoagies and sub sandwiches, hoagies and grinders, navy beans, meatloaf sandwich, sloppy Joe. No, and Josh calls the security on him. By the way, have we ever seen this security in the theater ever? Where did these guys come from? And they're like, "Do you know this guy?" And he's like, "Nope." Josh, I think they say, "Is he a friend of yours?" It's a hoagie and grinder, same thing. Oh yeah, yeah. And then we get the final scene, the scene that leaves an infamy for this episode. They're in the classroom. Drake is almost late, and he complains because Josh usually wakes him up. Okay, so how early does Josh wake him up? So he was late this morning. Their parents seem to have disappeared in this episode, so maybe I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, but you think the mom would say something too. But he's late. But also, how did Josh get to school without Drake driving him? That was the whole point earlier, is that Josh couldn't get to school because Drake took off on him. So how did Josh get to school if Drake didn't drive him? Is he using his mom's car like I said earlier? I also want to point out that earlier, when Josh comes home, he tells Megan that in addition to going to play racquetball with Helen, he is going to, he also aced his test, and Mr. Rowland was so impressed he didn't even mark down a letter grade. So everything's getting better, and I want to point out that makes him being done with Drake unnecessary now. Because think about it. He was mad at Drake, or he said he was done with Drake, because Drake took off and cost him a perfect score on the test. It's going to knock him down. It cost him taking a test. It cost him going to have to lose a test score. But now he has just said that he did so well that Mr. Rowland did not mark it down. So why is he still done with Drake if it doesn't matter anymore? Maybe that has something to do with why he lets it go at the end. But yeah, so Drake gets there. He's now got a pimple, which he never gets. Although I do want to point out he did break out in some sort of hideous facial rash in the bet. I talked about it, so go check that out. But he never gets a pimple, I guess. With all the junk food he ate, yeah, come on. Especially with all that sugar, he's got to get a pimple sometime. And I was wrong. Kat is back in this scene, but we don't see her past this episode. So, and Josh has switched partners, and now he has someone named Roki as his lab partner. We never see this guy before or again, so now Drake has to sit with Clayton, who we do see in one more episode. And he's funny in that episode because that's where Drake gargles something and spits it in his water bottle, and then he's like, "Why?" And he shows up at his house. Why? And this is, he was the not really giant in Wizard of Waverly Place. He was also on Glee, so you'd recognize him. So Drake doesn't know what to do, and again, this is the teacher's fault because Clayton's trying to tell him, and Clayton doesn't speak English or something, and when Eric tries to tell him, the teacher tells him to shut up, no talking, and I would be like, "Excuse me, sir." He just asked for help. I'm just trying to give him a little help on how to do the assignment. So Drake failing this is the teacher's fault. And so he does it wrong. He gets stuff all over his hands. He has to have they take him to the chemical shower and put his whole body in there, even though it's just his hands. But I do understand you got to do the whole body just in case. But they don't take any electronics off of him. His cell phone might be in there, even though we only see it in the cold open. I don't know. But they just throw him in there. And then the teacher's like, "Take your seat." I'm like, "Fuck no, I ain't taking my seat. I am total wet. You gotta send me to the nurse or something to get." I think what they did is they sent you to Lost and Found to see if there's any clothes that will fit you or something. There ain't no way. Or they'd call my mom. Like, "Hey, call your mom, tell her to bring you some spare clothes." Just like, in all actuality, they have safety glasses, but I think I don't remember if we had them. Lab coats or something. I don't know, but he's expecting me to just sit back down. He's soaking wet. No, you call the boy's parents and you say, "Hey, your son needs a change of clothes because he got chemicals spilled on him, and we put him in the chemical shower. He's all wet now, so he needs clothes." You don't just tell him to take his seat. This is where Drake Bell gets to act his ass off. Because she's like, "You know what? I'm sorry, Josh. I'm sorry, all right? I need you more than you need me, all right? I'm sorry. I'm sorry." And Mr. Rowland's like, "Josh, do you want to go after him?" He's like, "No." Because screw having a heartfelt scene. We just need to play it for comedy. So, yeah. Megan, I guess this is the scene where he would ask Megan to play ping pong. Because she returns his guitar. She used it to kill a spider. Which, the fact that it's still in one piece makes me doubt that. Because you know how easy it is for a guitar to smash? I'm just saying. She leaves, and then Josh shows up. And Drake tries to apologize again, and Josh is like, "You will refer to me only as Master Maguku." And then they just start playing the ping pong. And the episode ends. And the motherfucker out there is starting to mow. It is. Well, it's 3. I thought I said 5. It's 3. I hate it when people mow. It's like, I open the window to get some fresh air, and you're gonna mow. I have the white noise thing to get to sleep, and I didn't have a very good night's sleep last night. So mowing is gonna make me fall asleep even more. Anyway, this is a really good episode. I never liked how it ended. I feel like the ending is just like they could have done something. I ran out of time. Well, it's not really conclusive. It is. He apologizes to him, but it's like there's no heartfelt talk or anything. They just start playing the ping pong because this is a comedy show first and foremost. So it's a sitcom first and foremost. We gotta have funny in the end, I guess. But yeah. And we never see them play ping pong again. I wouldn't either. I would have thrown the ping pong table out. This is what caused the problems. The parents are never seen in this episode. Neither is Helen, despite the fact that they're at the premiere. No Helen, no parents. No adult supervision, except for the very, very bad, terrible teacher who would surely get fired for not allowing his students to take the tests, even though they were just a little bit late. He was barely late. Not even a minute. Like 20 seconds. This teacher would get fired. That's the one aspect about this episode I never liked. He has to be a bad teacher so that the plot works. Because if he wasn't a teacher that locked his students out when class started, then Josh wouldn't have to get all upset and mad and be kicked out. Yeah, we wouldn't have this, but yeah. So, what are your thoughts on this episode? No comment, so make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See what I mean? I'm just kidding. And I'll see you in the next one.